join me in welcoming to the stage our expert all the way from over there. It is Scott from Videojet. Come on up, Scott.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
And you.
Not the first time that our paths have crossed in the the aim of making good television. So, first of all, for people who aren't aware, Videojet.
Yes.
What do you do?
We are coding and marking, and we are the world's biggest coding and marking company. We grew from a company called AB Dick, who back in the 1960s developed a technique for printing onto celluloid film that you could then see on your TV screen.
Yep.
And that had its first worldwide debut in 1969 during the moon landing. Ask your grandfather, you'll be fine. And it then enabled the television company, the presenter, to have words up on the screen. So when Apollo 11 touched down and the word touchdown came up on the screen, that was printed by what we now know as a Videojet inkjet printer. So we've grown from there, and we've got a longer heritage than anybody else. We're the biggest, by far, the biggest coding and marking company in the world, and we've got a portfolio of products that allows us to apply a code from the pack right the way through to the pallet.
That's great. And so as we start applying that to PPMA, you say all the way from pack to pallet here. We're about innovation here on the Innovations 11 in the live demo theatre. Where is the innovation in this space as we start to kind of angle towards what we're going to be taking a look at on the screen? Where is innovation for you guys right now?
In our DNA, and I know that sounds like a buzz phrase and it's quite cheesy, but it's absolutely true. It's very much part of what Videojet does. Right. We have a program that we run worldwide, and bear in mind we've got 4,000 of our fellow staff members, if you like, worldwide. We have 30 direct operations. We have a footprint in 140 countries worldwide. So we are huge. And what we do is we have a program called VOC, Voice of the Customer, where we speak to customers, we speak to non-customers, and we ask about their pain points, what troubles them. And we take that intel back, we deliver it to our R&D team, ostensibly here in the UK, and so when we bring a new product to market, it actually attacks pain points. And so it's not just a great idea that's been dreamt up with men in lab coats with huge foreheads who never see daylight. It's actually attacking a problem that is out there in the market. So when we bring out a new product, people generally go, oh wow, okay, I can see the reason for that.
All right then, so what I'm hoping is that when we see a new product on the screen in a moment with your colleague Peter back at the stand, we're all going to go, wow, haven't seen that before. Just set the scene for us if you would like to before we hand over to
Indeed.
Peter.
And Peter would be really disappointed if you didn't actually say wow once you see it. So
okay, we need a wow, everybody, please.
Thank you. So what we've innovated, what we've introduced is a UV laser. So what's the difference from other lasers on the market? I hear you ask. Well, that's a great question. So we have historically always had CO2. CO2 is perfect for paper and for PET, and this company could really do with a CO2 laser because there's no code on that. So, however, there is one. I've got a Highland Spring bottle over there who happened to be a Videojet customer, and that code on there is done by laser at very, very high speed. However, if you manufacture something metallic, David, CO2 will just bounce off it. It's no good, and that's due to the specific wavelength.
Yep.
So the wavelength of CO2 is good for paper, it's good for card, it's good for PET. But if you want metal, then you have to look elsewhere on the spectrum. And so we go from CO2, which is round about UV, and we move then to fiber, which is very close to microwave. It's a different wavelength, usually 1064, 1065 nanometers. We don't want to turn this into a physics lesson, but effectively that different wavelength then means that the laser can mark on different substrates. And then we have really difficult substrates like HDPE, MDPE, LDPE, which usually we can't mark with the conventional lasers that we have.
Sure.
And so we introduced UV. So UV, by its very nature, is up towards the other end of the spectrum, close to X-ray. So it's a different wavelength entirely. And that reacts beautifully with HDPE as a prime example, but also monofilm. You know that a lot of companies are moving towards monofilm because they are far easily recycled.
Yeah.
But the challenge is if you hit them with conventional laser, there's a chance of perforation. Now, if you take a bag of crisps and you get a perforation in that, the oxygen gets in, the crisp becomes soggy.
Yep.
It's not great. So UV, slightly different kind of mark, in so much that it doesn't affect the tensile strength or the material itself.
Okay.
It simply initiates a color change at a chemical and molecular level.
Yep.
So it doesn't heat up the material, so it doesn't melt it, and it doesn't perforate it. So it is ideal for these type of materials.
So we're not impacting the integrity of the material there, we're just marking right on top of it, which is exactly what you want, particularly with some of the materials we're talking about. So we're speaking about wavelengths there. Let's make sure we're on the same wavelength and see this in action. I'm here all week. Peter, are you there on the Videojet stand?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Brilliant. So Peter,
Well, thank you for
take
that.
it away. And at some point, we're all going to give you a big wow, because Scott promised that we would.
Well, can we start with a wow? Would
All
that be
right.
nice?
Wow!
Well, we haven't even seen the product
And then
yet.
if we
That
get
means
any
we're
more along
wowing
the way,
Peter,
then it,
which is a bit unfair.
Thank you.
All right,
That's-
Peter, take it
that's
away, my
very-
friend.
Very kind of you. So thank you very much. Thank you, Scott, as well. So, yeah, welcome to the Videojet stand, which is stand F20, the Videojet iStand. Today I'm going to show you the Videojet 7920, so 7920, which, as Scott has already said, is our UV laser. So it's a new technology, new innovation for us. We're having a lot of interest in film, so coding onto film, but also coding onto plastics, as Scott says, like HDPE. So what I'm going to do is just really show you what the benefits are. The three main benefits. The first one is around production time, downtime. So with a laser, it's all about the focal distance to the product. So with the 7920, what we've got is a smart focus. So it allows it to, within the marking window, code onto different heights of products without actually moving physically the laser itself. The other thing as well is we've got a marking field. So the marking field, sometimes on the outsides of that field, you will have a bit of an impact on the code quality. And what we've got is a, so I need to log back into the actual laser itself, is a flat field correction. So effectively it means that the code is the highest quality it can be around the whole marking field for the laser itself. So that's the first point. The smart focus is the main thing to remember there. It will save you 20 minutes, half an hour on changeovers, which obviously saves you downtime. The second one is around integration. So integration, what you'll see, and if I can just take the cameraman around here, is the laser body. Now, we're one of the only companies that offer this, but we actually offer a beam turning unit so that this laser body can actually be mounted horizontally, vertically. Actually, the beam turning unit will allow us to code up to 360 degrees around. So from an integration point of view, it makes it a very, very easy to fit product. Obviously, you need guarding, you need extraction, which we can always help you with. We do provide a turnkey solution for, but effectively it just means that you've got an excellent ability to integrate into a lot of areas to code onto. So that's the integration piece. The other one is around connectivity. So connectivity-wise, you can use Ethernet, IP, Profinet, and we also can network our equipment with a software that we provide, which will allow it to sync to SAP or an ERP system. So again, excellent ease of use and ability to use and connect into what you're already doing on your production lines. And then lastly, which I've saved the best till last, is the lasers have a source. So it's a power source. It's the same in the CO2 and also in the fiber lasers. UV lasers hasn't been around for the 20, 30 years that the other technologies have. So what we've actually done for peace of mind for our customers is provided a 5-year warranty on the source, which basically means we will replace all the parts of the source and any labor completely free of charge. And we also offer a remote support system so that we can monitor that source live for you during your time with us to make sure that we can obviously see when it needs to be done and eliminate the downtime that could be caused. So next thing is I'm going to use the HMI here. So this can actually be placed meters away from the actual laser itself. And it's obviously what the operator will use. You can see on here what message we're going to be coding. And today we're actually coding two types of products. So we're going to code a aluminium coffee cup, which is going to use ablation. So it's going to basically print the PPMA UV on there. And then what we're also going to do is code what's on here, which is a HDPE white bottle. And it's going to show this chemical reaction. And it's going to effectively show that dark code no additive, so it's just literally the chemical reaction within the HDPE, which using the UV laser at the wavelength that it works at, will create this type of code. Now, I'm going to try and see if the cameraman can actually get a view into the cabinet to see the laser coding itself. So,
there we go. That looks great.
So I'm going to press the button, and it doesn't take long, but you will see it coding onto the black aluminium and then also onto the white. So here we go.
Wow.
There's another wow.
There's the wow.
Well done.
There we are.
I was expecting a wow. It's a very sexy technology.
Did you say sexy
So
technology?
that is it. It doesn't take very long.
Fine.
And then this is the finished product before I hand you back. But that is onto a coffee lid, which you can obviously come to our stand to get one for yourself. And this is onto the HDPE, which again, as you can see, very high quality code, and it can do logos, QR codes, as well as human readable text. So I think, unless there's any questions from the stand, then that's me. And thank you.
That's
Well
a
done,
great
Pete.
demo. Peter, that's brilliant. Put your hands together for Peter, everyone. And just to say, the quality of the demos that I've been fortunate to see over the last couple of days here so far, either here in the Innovation Theatre down the video line or in person, have been excellent. I really appreciate the effort that so many of you who are exhibiting here this year have gone to make those demos sharp, really eye-opening. Thank you. And that was a great example there of the 7920 UV. So, Peter did a good job.
He did a great job.
What didn't he talk about there? Because obviously I know what you're telling me, and I've got some general questions about, the type of environments, coffee cups, I see that. Obviously, we had a little pill packet, the pill bottles there as well. Where do you see this having the most traction in the current market?
Specifically pharma. That's obviously a big area for that, because they are driving for more and more information on the packaging.
Yep.
QR codes are indicative of that. Of course, we have GS1 Sunrise up and coming in 2027. That allows us to incorporate all the information that the manufacturers or the supermarkets are driving to, but also on food, and particularly film, printed film. So something like ready meals, for example, the film that goes on the top, crisps I touched on earlier, mono materials which are recyclable. So from a sustainability point of view, this is the way to go. You also said, what did he not talk about? And simply for the reasons of time, that was an IP54 rated laser that you saw. We also do an IP65.
And remind me the difference between those two ratings?
Washdown effectively.
Yep.
So normally the 54 will work in most environments, but if you're in a washdown or a wet area, then you need IP65, which gives you more protection against predominantly the electronics of the laser to water.
And then in terms of throughput, so let's say you've got a high throughput food production line, crisp packets, whatever else it might be, what sort of throughput are you able to achieve with this?
And that's another great question. You've obviously been doing this for a few years, because you're coming up with some great questions here. We can do 2,000 characters a second. Okay, what does that mean?
What's a character when you're looking at a QR code equivalent?
If we just take text, because the vast majority of customers putting text on, 2,000 characters a second. However, how quickly can we mark it on your product? And that comes down to our sample process. So we have a sample lab. We would then, we're not box shifters, David. We never have been. We're consultative, and we do a lot of equipment on lease. And these leases normally last 5 years. Just to give you a perspective, at the end of a 5-year lease, in excess of 95% of Videojet customers take out a brand new lease. So we look after them. It's the entire package. We don't just sell you a laser, we then support you throughout the lifetime of that laser. So the point that I was making there, I've actually forgotten the question.
I was asking about throughputs.
Thank you very much. Throughput. So it depends on the substrate. We would sample test that and the mark time that we need. Now, you saw those white HDPE bottles. They've got a high amount of titanium dioxide in them.
Right,
and it's titanium dioxide that reacts with that specific wavelength at 355 nanometers, which means we don't need a lot of power. It just tickles it and we get that color change. So the more titanium dioxide in your material, the faster the throughput.
And something you mentioned there in terms of lease renewals and so on. That reminded me of something that Peter said in there about the source, about the laser source there, and a 5-year guarantee that you've got for that, because this is innovations. It's cutting edge technology.
Absolutely. This is a big ticket item as well. Don't get me wrong. This is not something that you're going to say, oh, I think I'll just have a UV laser. It's a high premium priced piece of kit, as you've seen there, and the source has been a concern for customers for a long, long time. This isn't our first UV. Our last UV was much more expensive, and the source, when you replaced it, which you had to replace every couple of years, was expensive. And that's why UV didn't have the take-up of CO2 and fibre. What we've done is taken that pain away. We no longer need to have the conversation about how long is my source life. You don't need to worry about it, because when it finally fails, Videojet will come and replace it. And as Pete was saying, we have a unique, innovative program called VRS, Videojet Remote Support. And so we invite you to network your Videojet products on your site. So you have a Videojet network within David Foods Limited, but it's not on your network. Now, we can connect either using Ethernet, using Wi-Fi, because all of our products are born digital, or with using 4G. So you then plug it in. As soon as you switch it on, it connects to a cradle on your wall, and it connects to one of 3 networks. So the benefit for you can take any web-enabled device, and you can see the status of your Videojet product. When it fails, it's a machine, it's going to fail.
Yep.
Anybody that tells you the machine isn't going to fail is being economic with the truth. When it fails, it sends you a message to your phone. You then go and have a look, see if you can fix it. If you can't, it invites you to check a box on the software, allowing our technicians to dial in and diagnose the fault. 7 out of 10 faults that don't require a part can be fixed remotely. I'll repeat that. 7 out of 10 faults that don't require a part can be fixed remotely. Therefore, you don't need one of our field service engineers, and we have the largest fleet in the UK by far. We don't need them coming to your site to recover from downtime. You can recover from downtime in as quick as 20 minutes. So we've got that, but Pete was alluding to when the source is wearing, it then tells us first, and the first time you know about it is you get a call from Videojet tech support saying, your laser tells me you need a new source, when can I come and fit it?
And that's the predictive maintenance piece that we've been dreaming about. Well, dreaming about actually seeing for a little while there, and I very much look forward to bringing David Foods Limited to PPMA show next year, and being able to sit in the bath and just see on my screen, oh, it looks like there's something that we can fix just by tapping on this button.
That's exactly the situation. And you spoke about Industry 4.0, factory of the future. That's where the market is driving. How do we know? Because VOC tells us.
Yeah.
And we don't bring out a product unless the market tells us that that's what they need.
Scott has all the answers to my questions, but does he have the answer to your questions? That's what we want to find out. So if any of you have questions for Scott about the 7920 UV, about the associated topics around that, then Irene, say hello, Irene. Irene is waving a microphone around, and she's very happy to bring that microphone to you. If you have any questions, any comments, any controversial opinions, they're all very welcome here in the live demo theatre. Who has a question for Scott? Don't be shy, don't be shy. We've got a question over here. Okay, microphone's making its way to you.
How much does the laser cost?
How much does the laser? It depends on the spec that you need. I'm not being evasive here, but it's a premium price product, but it would be wrong of me to throw a figure at you and then we come and consult and find that you need something a wee bit more specific, a wee bit more comprehensive. So happy to speak with you on the stand. You tell us what you need, then we would give you a ballpark figure. But as Pete said, we incorporate guarding as well. It's a Videojet badge that's on it, so we need to make sure that it's really, really safe for your operators, because sometimes you need to protect operators from themselves. So I'm not being evasive, but we're happy to talk about it.
Okay, more questions for Scott. Looking all the way around here because we've got people kind of like a 180 degree. We've got some questions on the side over there. Uh-oh, here we go.
Hi, Scott. Just a quick question. When people transition between traditional inkjet to laser, there's always concerns about health and safety. And I know that we produce some ancillary equipment for extraction and guarding. Maybe you could just expand on the sort of turnkey element that we can do.
That's a great question. So, in other words, for the benefit of anybody that didn't hear it, do we do complete packages or do we just supply the laser? No, we supply extraction because despite the fact that UV creates little or no particulate and very little vapor, we still need to extract that from a safety perspective. So we would then consult with you, having tested your material and spec the right extraction for you. And then Mark spoke about guarding. I think his name's Mark. He spoke about guarding. Yes, we work with either we do it internally because we have that facility, our facility in Nottingham to design the guarding, or we could go to specialists. So when we talk about CO2, you can guard that using 8mm thick polycarbonate. Due to the wavelength of CO2, any reflected radiation is absorbed by that. Great. Fibre and UV both need to be light tight, so invariably it's stainless steel or aluminium. You saw when the cameraman had a look into that guarding there, that there are manufacturers who do specific acrylics that are suitable for that wavelength. But you wouldn't want to make a cabinet out of that because it would be prohibitively expensive.
Sure. But
we do everything. So we supply the guarding, we supply the extraction, and we supply the best lasers in the world.
There we go. There we go. He's good, isn't he? You know, we talk about premium product here. We've got a premium product right here on the sofa. I think it's fair to say. His colleagues are shaking their heads. They clearly know Scott better than we do.
The gentleman that asked about the price is away to phone Wonga to see if he can get a loan for one now, which is great. Good luck, big man. We'll see you. Stand F20.
We probably got time for one more question if anyone wants to tease another response out of Scott while we've got him here on the sofa. And we've got one more question from over here. Irene's making her way over with a microphone. Hello there.
Hello. I was just wondering, why should somebody come to you, not to your competitors? How do you differentiate yourself?
That's a really, really good question because every man and his dog seems to be doing UV laser at the moment, simply because you're not just buying a product, you're buying a package that goes around it. It's a machine. All machines fall over. You could go online, you could Google UV laser, you could buy a cheap UV laser. They'll send it to you with no guidance on safety, etc. What happens when that laser falls over? You pick up, good luck getting a telephone number to dial before getting somebody to pick it up. Videojet have that entire package. So we built our reputation on reliability of the kit, but also support when you need it. And as I mentioned earlier, here in the UK, we've got a field service fleet of 30 engineers. Nobody comes close to that. So when you need us, we're there.
Super stuff. Thank you very much indeed for your question. Thank you all for your questions and for your attention over the last half an hour or so. We are at the bottom of the hour, but I invite you all please to put your hands together for Peter back at Stand F20 for giving the demo, and to the premium product in the sofa right now, to Scott from Videojet.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
You. Pleasure. Thank you very much.